What's up, space pirates? This is your admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and let's do a little countdown, shall we? The top 3 most satisfying 3-word phrases to say to someone that you dislike. For number 3 here, we have
kiss my ass.
And then this one clocks in at number 2.
You're a moron!
Of course, the word moron could be substituted for any number of other insults like jackass, D-bag, idiot, you name it. But the number 1 most satisfying 3-word phrase to say to someone that you don't like,
I told you! Yeah. I told you!
As a schadenfreude enthusiast, I love getting to say those words. And now that Tales of the Shire has been released, I get to say those words because things are not at all looking good for this burnt turd. They've made so many mistakes in putting together this game. The graphics are dog crap. They included progressive diversity nonsense in the game, and they hired Sweet Baby Inc. to write this turd. And as we just covered the other day, the reviews from the critics absolutely ripped this game to shreds. At the moment, they are sitting on a pathetic score of 59 out of 100 over on Metacritic. Even they, the critics that is, took one look at this game and said,
You suck, you jackass!
But now that the game has been released, we can see the player count on Steam, and I will give them this: at least it isn't as bad as Gollum. That game couldn't even hit 800 concurrent players on the platform, so if you're looking at it from that perspective, Tales of the Shire at least does not have the dubious honor of being the worst Lord of the Rings game ever, but at less than 7,000 players, considering the likely development costs of the game, including the licensing fee in order to use the IP in the first place, it's hard to see this venture being profitable. After seeing these initial numbers, I can about imagine what the internal talk of the developers at Weta Workshop has to be.
You don't have any friends. Not listening. Not listening. Nobody likes you.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, don't forget to follow me over on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster1. I keep a list on there of games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account at all times for your reference. I've also started uploading some content onto Rumble too, so make sure that you follow Dr. Disaster over there. Anyhow, let's talk about what we're seeing from Tales of the Shire right now. At just under 7,000 players, at least Tales of the Shire is far from the least popular Sweet Baby Inc. game ever made. It isn't something like Unknown 9 Awakening, which, as a Sweet Baby Inc. game, didn't even top out at 300 players on Steam. Or, at least, it isn't South of Midnight, which released just a few months ago and hit about 1,400 players. But the Lord of the Rings franchise being attached to this game meant that Tales of the Shire was always going to draw in at least a little bit of a crowd. Some of the cultural auto-intake zombies were bound to support them, because let's face it, the idea behind Tales of the Shire isn't the worst one in the world. Look, I'm not a fan of the cozy games. I bought Animal Crossing on the Switch for my kids a few years ago, and they enjoyed it. But I think I tried playing that game myself like 3 or 4 times. I got it in my head that there had to be a reason that the franchise is so well liked, so I thought I needed to give it a chance. But every time I put the game in, my eyes rolled back into my head from boredom, and I ended up doing something else. But all that said, just because I don't like cozy games doesn't mean that making one is necessarily a bad idea, and I acknowledge that a cozy game married to the Lord of the Rings franchise is actually an interesting design idea, and if the artwork in the game wasn't so wretched, then this would be a highly marketable title. It suffered, though, from the same problem that Gollum suffered from. The graphics and design just look like total shit. I mean, look at this. You can't market something like this. With most gamers, they likely hadn't even heard of this game. Or, if they had heard of Tales of the Shire, they either didn't like it or didn't give a crap about it. The launch trailer is a prime example of what I'm talking about here. At the time of this recording, the trailer dropped 17 hours ago, and it is currently at only 26,000 views, and it was immediately ratioed because there is so much bad will concerning this game. They have 568 likes to 938 dislikes, and the comment section for this trailer ripped them to pieces, mirroring everything that I've been saying here. Most reviews of the Switch version mention this game crashes very often. Beware. Now Gollum has competition. Never before has such a great concept been so thoroughly wasted. I was there, Gandalf, 3,000 years ago, when the graphics of Lord of the Rings games were somehow better. This game is for modern audiences only. I hope whoever greenlights these games runs out of money soon so Tolkien's work stops being spat on. And sadly, Gollum and now Tales of the Shire are probably just the tip of the iceberg as far as bad adaptations of Lord of the Rings goes. With Christopher Tolkien, the son of J.R.R. Tolkien, now having sadly passed away just a few years ago, the floodgates have opened. Christopher had been a dutiful custodian of the IP. He was faithful to his father's work and refused to let people prostitute it out for a quick buck. But the people who hold the rights now seem not to give a shit about that sort of thing. That's why we got the Rings of Power garbage over on Amazon. That's why we saw that War of the Rohirrim anime movie that released this past December that virtually nobody went to go and see in theaters. The franchise is simply not going to be lovingly taken care of as it once was. They have opened the door to any moron with deep pockets to use the franchise however they see fit for a quick buck. And this here is the result. The game, Tales of the Shire, has been out for less than a day at this time, and they're already down to about a 69% review score. And considering the low volume of people that have played this game, considering that low volume will be made up of cultural auto intake people who are predisposed to eat up everything put out by their corporate masters without question, considering all that, then this score is really bad. If the performance issues are a problem on PC as they are on the Switch, then I suspect that this score on Steam will plummet even lower in the near future. I'm gonna say to the makers of this game what I said at the beginning of this video. I told you. Because I did. A lot of us have told them that this would be the result of their shoddy choices, and now here we are, and the schadenfreude feels super good. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of Tales of the Shire into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.